Question: have you ever been sitting in a theater watching a movie and just absolutely loved it, only for the moment the credits start rolling for everyone else in the theater to just start loudly ripping the thing you loved to pieces? Because that's what watching It Comes at Night was like for me. An hour and a half of great filmmaking with some interesting things to say that got booed. Not kidding. Straight up booed. And maybe this video makes It Comes at Night my Batman v Superman, considering I'm wasting my life making a video explaining it all on the internet, but at least my movie's good. And just a heads up, possible mild spoilers ahead. Again, just possible and mild and unspecific if anything, but still, possible spoilers. So, what is It Comes at Night? Well, it's the story of a family surviving out in the woods somewhere as the world around them completely collapses from some kind of incurable and highly contagious disease. This family is completely cut off from anything else that still resembles society, if anything still exists, and they're basically just living day to day, when one day they come across another family simply trying to survive this vague-ocalypse. And despite both families having extreme trust issues, they do decide to work together and move in, becoming roommates. So during the days, our two families work together, gathering food, firewood, fixing up the house a bit, and all kinds of other things, but at night, they're locked inside their attic of a home, terrified of what's lurking out among the trees around them, and their thoughts turn dark. Nobody sleeps great because nightmares have them on edge, mistrust is around every corner, and if you're starting to kind of get a picture drawn for you about where this is going, there's a reason for that, because where this is going is not a twist, but the point. Living with fear has destroyed these people's ability to trust anyone and forced them to isolate themselves from even their own neighbors, so to say. So the million-dollar question, what comes at night? Well, night itself, which means, of course, darkness, mysteries, the unknown, fear, terror, and possibly death? So with the it part of It Comes at Night being an abstract, it's probably safe to assume that the night part is also not really meant to be taken literally. So what could night be a symbol of? Well, as I said before, the world is of course going through a vague-ocalypse, so it could be a symbol of a hard time for man, for the end times, for dark times. Sort of a night for humanity, so to say. So, abstractly speaking here, the correct title for It Comes at Night could be argued to be Fear Comes at the Worst of Times. When things are dark, when things are at their worst, as a species, our natural reaction to it is fear, whether the problem be global and just in our country or more local in your own neighborhood or town even. Anytime things are not at their best, you're in one way, shape, or form scared, and that affects your decisions and your actions and the way you think, the way you perceive things. And it's only natural too. Not that I'm saying, for an example off the top of my head, Trump being president means we all need to lock ourselves in our attics at night and spend the days wearing gas masks a la this movie. Although that last one might be kind of important here soon-ish, but none of that's also what this movie's actually about. And if anything, it's the opposite. The point of the movie being to illustrate what our fear of the metaphoric other drives us to do. And then it turns around and questions us whether or not we want that, whether or not we want to be ruled by fear. Which is why the end of this movie is now such a famously bleak affair, and why Joel Edgerton spent the movie limping, because letting fear rule your life is like shooting yourself in the foot. And with art, sometimes leaving your audience with questions is better than leaving them with answers. Big surprise, right? So It Comes at Night definitely didn't put everything in the trailer, because the movie itself had nothing, like the famous and celebrated film historian I was sitting next to in the theater exclaimed after the movie ended. But was that man wrong? Was it his fault the movie wasn't what he expected it to be? Or is it the fault of the studio or marketing team for making the trailers seem like there's a big scary monster in this movie? Or is there a big scary monster in this movie, and it just happens to be a big scary monster that's scarier than monsters with claws, fangs, and little mouths inside of big mouths? Or was the depressing nature of the movie so depressing that it just made people tune out? Or is that just a symptom of today's modern society where people's attention spans are so short that a good movie like this can't quite hold their attention? Or is that something that filmmakers even need to respond to? Is that the fault of the audience, that our world's in such a place now that they can't hold our attention anymore? And all that's without even considering the fact that so many movies find their audiences years after their release. Exactly like what people keep thinking will happen with Batman v Superman. Except my movie actually has a chance of it happening. Or at least I hope it does. Ugh. Could come back and bite me in the ass pretty hard, actually. Oh, I don't know. But what I do know is that It Comes at Night is a great movie. So who's seen It Comes at Night? And if you have, did you like it? If not, why not? And if you haven't seen it, are you interested? Is something I would very much like to see answered, actually. So whatever you got, give me a shout down below and let's talk about it. And if you wouldn't mind giving me a like, share, or subscribe, I promise to always trust you when crazy world-ending plagues break out. Bye!
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and let it